Arnold Schwarzenegger plays John Matrix, a retired Special Forces colonel who tries to save his daughter when she's abducted by his former subordinate. 1985's Commando is up next on Inside Movies. Hey guys, welcome to Inside Movies. My name is George Michail. I'm joined by novelist Andrew Buckley, writer, editor-in-chief Murphey, and writer-artist GMB CHOMICHUK. Thanks everyone for joining me, and let's get into Commando. What's the good? What do you guys like about this movie?
An action-packed prequel to Alyssa Milano's Charmed. Right? An unexpected prequel. Like, no wonder you would lead such a magical life after having this man as your father and, you know, growing up in this really wild situation. I think as a prequel to Charmed, really cool.
He's a good dad, right? He's eating ice cream with her. He's feeding the deers with her. You know?
That little montage at the beginning was so cute. Honestly, I mean, I love Arnold, and I mean, pretty much anything he's been in. And so, I mean, he's made for action. And I thought it was really cute how they took this. You know, he had his kind of stretch like in the 90s where he was doing a lot of like kind of like kids movies. And I feel like this was the perfect balance of like Arnold is the cute dad, but also he's like an action hero. Like I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, he's such a badass in this. It's great.
Him carrying those logs just on his shoulder.
He's a wood cutting machine. Yeah, that guy can chop a log.
Yeah.
Let's think about all of the massive things that he picked up and threw in this movie. There was a phone booth
with a guy in it.
I think at one point there was that
little car.
A full car. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Throws a log, throws a car, throws a phone booth.
Held the guy off the cliff.
Yep.
I like that line when he's like, "When I promised I'd kill you last, I lied," and they just dropped.
I lied.
Yes.
We want to talk about lines on the airplane. Oh, don't bother my friend. He's dead asleep. It's like, oh.
Was this the movie where they decided one-liners are a genre unto themselves? Right?
I love a good one-liner.
It's like there were spy thrillers, there were kung fu action, and now there's one-liner action films. This was the one where the camera would hold on him so he could deliver the line.
I think my favorite one was "I'll be back." Anyone else? I was just like, I see what you guys did there.
And it's not just Arnold though, like Bill Duke when he's stealing the car there. And he's like talking to the salesman. He's like, "There's just one problem, the price." And he like guns the car and runs over the guy and gets out of there. I'm like, yes, this is so stupid and awesome.
Oh yeah, this was a movie of my childhood where I knew that it was 2 hours I couldn't get back, but I loved every minute of it. Young Gregory was just like, yeah, throw that guy off a cliff. Yeah, blow that up. Oh, nobody aims but you in this movie. That's pretty cool.
That was pretty bad. No, not well. We're gonna get to the bad. Let's say the good is that Arnold apparently is just like in the Matrix, can just not get hit by a bullet.
I think what happens is once your pectoral muscles reach a certain size, they exude some sort of gravitational force, and it's causing the bullets to move in a way that they wouldn't normally.
And what a cool name, Colonel Matrix! Like,
it's awesome. John Matrix. It's true.
Yeah.
Wasn't the pacing of this movie like amazing? Watching it for the first time in ages, like he literally goes from all the setup in those first 5 minutes of them just killing off people, to him, you know, chopping logs, to introducing the daughter, to the general dude or the colonel showing up, warning him, and then as soon as he leaves, someone tries to kill him. Then it's off, and there's nothing but action all the way to the very end. Like that's stellar pacing for anything.
Well, and even the down moments when he pretty much kidnaps this woman and says like, "Oh, my daughter is kidnapped." She goes to the cops. "This guy's crazy. He just kidnapped me." And then all of a sudden everything goes crazy in the mall that they were in. and then she ends up just like tagging along, like, okay, no, I believe you now. Like, it was, yeah, there wasn't, I don't think there was a down moment.
Chainmail as leisure wear also. I think a positive
But
in
only,
this film.
only in
Is
like
that a positive or is that a negative?
Oh, I think that's a positive. I mean, like in a film this ridiculous, yes, you definitely wear a chainmail nightie before you have a knife fight with somebody. You for sure do. Yeah. Yeah.
So this script was written by Jeff Loeb, who, you know, people in comic books know as, like, you know.
Is that true? I did not do this. It's Andrew that drops this knowledge on us. I've stopped looking these things up so that I can just learn them on the show.
Yeah, stop fucking stealing my shtick, man. This is ridiculous.
Jeff
Were you
Loeb.
going to drop that one? Because Jeff Loeb is one of my all-time favorites. You know, Batman: The Long Halloween. Yeah, just.
Oh man, he was a producer on so many things that makes so much sense. Yeah, because
Heroes.
This is a comic book movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's 100% a comic book movie. He is a Captain America style figure, just no costume, for sure.
I met Jeff Loeb and at a convention, and I decided to talk to him about Cable for some reason, because he wrote Cable in the 90s, and I bought all his books with like Ian Churchill illustrating them. And he's like, "Oh, those are garbage. Why are you talking to me about that?" And he had no interest in having a Cable conversation. I was like, I liked them. I don't know. I know, you know, all the Marvel color books, like Spider-Man Blue and Daredevil Yellow, Hulk Gray, and Superman Batman, and Batman: The Long Halloween, and Dark Victory, and all these great things. And I talked to him about Cable, and he's just like, "Get out of here, kid."
So. Oh my goodness. Okay, but isn't John Matrix, is that literally his name in this film, John Matrix? Is John Matrix also not a Cable style character? What year did this movie come out?
1985. This is a 1985 movie.
Okay, so it's way before Cable. I wonder if this machoism infects a young Rob Liefeld or not.
Speaking of
death, I love Commando, and another thing I love is anthologies. And Greg, you've got a new one called Dead Work. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
The Dead Work Collective, which is a collective of your favorite indie comic book creators, or perhaps your new favorite indie comic book creators. We've put together 144 pages of action, drama, horror, and everything I would want in a comics anthology. Short, done-in-one stories packed with 144 pages of full-color mayhem. Available on Kickstarter February 2nd.
Awesome. Cool. And I've put a link to the Dead Work Kickstarter in the description of this video. So make sure you click that link and go and check out that project. Another like all-time like great cheesy line is when he kills Bennett and he's like, "Let off some steam, Bennett."
Oh my god, what a bad line.
Oh, it's so good. I love these things. Like,
so bad.
People that are unfamiliar with my writing, like especially like projects to be coming out in the future here, we've got like Resilient and Fire Engine Red. There's little cheesy one-liners in them. I like them, so I still put them in.
This is what I mean. It's like a genre. It's like its own genre. If you can do one-liners and people like one-liners, they love it. But also, why wear armor if a pipe can go through it? It was weird.
It wasn't armor. I always thought it was. Back in the day when I first saw this, I'm like, he wears chainmail all the time. But on rewatching it, I'm like, that looks like a wool like vest kind of deal. It doesn't look metal in the slightest.
Is it not?
No, I don't think it is. I swear to God, I don't think it is.
I think they wanted you to believe it was, though.
I think maybe.
Yeah, he's wearing real chains around his neck.
Yes.
Which make the fake chainmail look terrible.
Also, again, it's not. It's like a little. Like it's a, what do they call that? It's a like a little tank top that
like
girls
a bolero, like a reverse bolero. Whatever the space of bolero would cover, his little wool chainmail.
I watched it on my laptop and paused it because I was like, that doesn't even look like chainmail. I don't think that's chainmail at all. And then if you watch him move, it doesn't move. It like it sticks to his body the whole time. Like it's not. There's no kind of movement or weightiness to it. Mm-hmm. Like it's just wool.
So I want the prequel film where that villain is given some kind of ceremonial knitted
by his grandmother
Afghan by his grandmother, which he then where like just the last remnants of it he wears now as a totem against evil, only to find out that he's the real villain.
I'd be all about a Commando 2 with Arnold going to like rescue his like grandchildren or something like that. That'd be awesome.
No, Commando 2, Alyssa Milano would have to rescue him.
Nah.
Okay, so speaking of sequels and later on movies, I felt like that this was the good version of Rambo Last Blood.
Yeah.
Oh, Murphy gets full points for that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I just couldn't. I mean, there's so one. You know, obviously like he wasn't. You know, he was still in his prime. Like he was still a young man at that point. But the storylines are so kind of similar. But they didn't. They just kind of went in this much more positive and fun way. Whereas Last Blood went real dark, real fast.
Yeah, it's funny how this era of filmmaking, don't you guys think, just made murder into like a fun game? Like how creative it just lightened the entire thing. It was such a strange type of cinema.
Yeah, but it's the video games that are poisoning our children.
Yeah.
The final Arnold's final assault on the headquarters of the bad guys, and he like throws the lawnmower blade and like scalps that guy's head up. It's like yes, and then he like cuts that other guy's arm like clear off.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's like so good. The final like 10 minutes there is just it's a blast. It's so much fun.
I do have to mention though, this doesn't necessarily belong in the bad stuff, but it was just the scene right before that. I feel like that was like 10 full minutes of him being shot at and just kind of rolling around and jumping bushes and walls, and then they finally surround him in this house and just shoot wildly into it, and then he just keeps killing all of them.
Yeah, but it's up in the rafters. They didn't shoot up there.
It should have won an Academy Award for, if there's such a thing as like squib ballet, right? The squibs are the things that are exploding in the ground and throwing the dirt in the air for the fake bullets. That's like, you know, that's like squib ballet sequence. This is definitely Academy Award winning. 20 minutes of them shooting at the ground in front of him and him rolling out of the way for sure.
And I don't think they used one Wilhelm scream, which honestly I respect. I respect doing your own screaming.
I believe they did because it was listed. I found it. Well, I think it was made when they dropped Sully off the cliff, but it was listed somewhere that there was a Wilhelm scream in this movie.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a Wilhelm scream database that like viewers should be aware of?
I didn't know. I just saw it listed on IMDb. Yeah, I guess they listed every time there was one.
There must be a There's
a master list somewhere.
There's gotta be.
I mean, sure otherwise, why have the internet?
All right, so this movie isn't perfect. Let's get into the bad. What did we not like about Commando?
That I wasn't 11, because 11-year-old Gregory is like, wow. 45-year-old Gregory is like, what?
No, come on. It's good still. It's still good. It's still fun.
It held up to me.
So the only continuity kind of error I have in it is all within the last, that like big action scene in those last half hour. You've got the daughter kind of just running away from the guy with the chainmail, and then after a full time, Arnold's like up on the top level of this, and she's like down in the basement, and he hears ah! And he's like, oh, my daughter. And then he goes all the way down into the basement to go find them. And then at the end, when he murders this dude, she's just like, yay, Dad.
Yeah, not traumatized at all. For me, I have Bennett as a bit of a negative. Like, I would have liked them to cast somebody. Like, I don't like his mustache. I don't like his chainmail. I would have liked them to just cast, like, I don't know, Lou Ferrigno. Like, someone, like, as big as, like, Arnold back in the day. And just have them kind of go at it a bit more. Because I really felt like he wasn't, like, enough of a threat.
George, his commitment to that role, like, he cut his hair and shaved his beard off for that role. Like, he really committed to this thing. You can't.
Also, Lou and Arnold would not be in a movie together. There's a lifelong feud there. That's totally off topic.
Explain more about this.
What's the feud?
No, yeah,
I've heard this too. Like, I don't know how much of it is conjecture, But if you watch Pumping Iron, you can't imagine that Lou Ferrigno would like Arnold Schwarzenegger ever after that.
No, Arnold Schwarzenegger is also surprisingly short, so he doesn't like to be in films with other tall men. A lot of times, that's why a lot of times in like photo ops and stuff, he'll only do it like sitting down.
Yeah, what people don't realize is Alyssa Milano in this role, she was very tall for her age. She's actually 6'1" in this role as a child, and you know, they just kept having to put him on blocks, kind of like in Interview with a Vampire, right?
But George, with what you were saying, that last fight that they had, every time he like punched Arnold, I was like, and he like looked like it hurt. I didn't believe it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, some better stunt casting would have been good. Yeah.
Another negative for me is when Arnold. Well, the whole thing with Sydney. Like, why is she hanging around with this guy? Like, he basically kidnaps her, and then she just like hangs around and helps him. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, as soon as you were like free from this guy, you'd be like, all right, that guy's nuts. I'm going home. Like, totally. But she sticks around to help him. And when he first meets her, though, or they get in that car. And he just like rips the seat out of the car to sit on the ground. Why? That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
why is he doing that?
There's not enough leg room.
He was too big.
You know, as a man with long legs, I can tell you, if I could rip seats out of cars in order to give myself more leg room, I would absolutely do it.
It wasn't his legs; his pecs were too big. He just couldn't fit down in the car. In the chair.
Actually, I think that's why she doesn't leave. Murph. I think it's that inexorable pull. The gravity of his pectoral muscles just keeps her in a close orbit. Yeah.
They did film a sex scene.
Women in.
Bullets away, women in. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it defies physics, kind of like the Matrix.
They filmed a sex scene between Schwarzenegger and the girl, and it was so not believable that they cut it from the movie. There was supposed to be a bit more of a romantic subplot.
It felt like they were kind of pushing for that, and then it like felt like the end. It was kind of like, oh, hello, new mom, but it never quite got there.
She seems so excited to see the daughter. I'm like,
yeah,
so excited after all you've been through.
Yeah, like, would you be talking about that like a few Christmases later? Hey, remember that time Dad killed all those people in front of us? Right? Is that what you like? How would you reminisce?
And you look over at your daughter, who's now in a super goth phase, and she goes, "Yeah."
Like
is the sequel to Commando just everyone in therapy?
It would have to be.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think so.
Another negative I have:
commanding your feelings.
Command your feelings.
Commando
too. Command your feelings.
I also love one-liners. I can't help it.
Let's give it a grade. What's the skinny on Commando?
I'll give it a 1 skinny Afghan chainmail anti-bolero out of 2 skinny chainmail anti-boleros. A solid action film, but definitely better for its time. Oh, I could say more, but I'm not going to.
I'll give it a B+. For me, this is fun 80s action movie. It's lots of great one-liners. Arnold at his peak like awesomeness, and it's a straightforward movie, but it's definitely entertaining and a good time. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Yeah.
I also graded it by fake chainmail. I gave it 3 fancy wool chainmail vests out of 5. It's still fun. It's out of all the movies we've done on Inside Movies so far, where I've gone back and been so devastated that it is not like what I remember from my childhood, this one was exactly as I remember from my childhood, and I still enjoyed it.
I give it 3 rockets launched in the correct direction out of 4. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us for another episode of Inside Movies. I've been George Michail. I'm joined by Andrew Buckley, Murphey, and GMB CHOMICHUK. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Links to all those in the description of this video, and the Dead Work anthology. Check out that Kickstarter. Link in the description. Until next time, peace.